Tonight, the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower.
The premise of Cambridge Analytica is to warp people's perceptions to gain an objective.
Russia's shocking election results. And a music mogul's second act.
I don't think anyone's going to remember whether I signed Katy Perry or not. With all due respect to Katy, if she's listening.
Uber suspended its driverless car program today after what's believed to be the first death resulting from an automated vehicle. Last night, a self-driving Uber car hit a woman crossing the street with her bike in Tempe, Arizona. She died today from the injuries. The car was in autonomous mode with a human driver at the wheel when the accident happened. Uber says it's fully cooperating with the police investigation. Austin police say they're probably dealing with a sophisticated serial bomber after a tripwire detonated a bomb on a city sidewalk last night, sending 2 people to the hospital. Investigators believe the same person who carried out this attack is also responsible for 3 other explosions this month, which have left 2 people dead. Authorities said they still don't have a motive, but haven't ruled out terrorism.
We don't understand why they are doing this. We have people here that he can talk to, and we would like that to occur.
Mississippi's governor signed the country's strictest abortion measure into law today.
We are saving more of the unborn than any state in America, and what better thing we could do.
House Bill 1510 makes it illegal to get an abortion after 15 weeks and doesn't allow exceptions for pregnancies resulting from rape or incest. The state's only abortion clinic, Jackson Women's Health Organization, has already filed a federal lawsuit saying the law is unconstitutional. New York City launched an investigation today after a watchdog group uncovered more than 80 building permits allegedly falsified by the Kushner companies, a real estate group owned by the family of President Trump's advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner. The company told the city that buildings it purchased didn't have any rent-regulated tenants who are protected by special rules that prevent developers from forcing them out. But the report found the buildings actually housed hundreds of those tenants.
That even if there's no regard for the truth in Washington, D.C., there is a commitment here in New York City to defending the truth, defending the rule of law, and defending the safety of every single New Yorker.
The company filed the permits between 2013 and 2016, when Jared Kushner was still CEO. In a statement to the AP, the Kushner company said it outsources these types of documents, and if there are mistakes or violations, corrective action is taken. President Trump visited New Hampshire to unveil his administration's new plan for fighting the opioid crisis. The proposal includes launching a public awareness campaign about the effects of drugs and funding research into non-addictive painkillers. But in his speech, Trump also endorsed executing convicted drug dealers.
If we don't get tough on the drug dealers, we're wasting our time. Just remember that. We're wasting our time. And that toughness includes the death penalty.
Facebook and Alex Stamos, its chief information security officer, are parting ways. The departure comes on the same day that Facebook said that it's investigating whether it allowed a data company called Cambridge Analytica to access and allegedly keep data profiles of 50 million users. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon sat on Cambridge Analytica's board, and the Trump campaign ended up paying the company nearly $6 million. But before CA could land that contract, it had to show that its voter profiling model worked on a mass scale. And to do that, it needed an epic bundle of data. Vice News spoke to the whistleblower who made it all happen.
My name is Christopher Wiley. I'm a data scientist, and I helped set up Cambridge Analytica. when Steve Bannon wanted to build an arsenal of weapons for his culture war, he liked the idea of working with a company that has lots of military clients. Fundamentally, what Cambridge Analytica was the transposition of military-style information operations and propaganda to an American political consultancy so that it can create a web of disinformation on Facebook and other platforms.
Some people would say, well, actually, this is basic data analysis. Obama did it. Hillary Clinton did it. You're saying this is warfare.
First of all, Obama didn't win because of disinformation. The fundamental difference between standard political targeting and information operations is this idea of informational dominance. I inject my messaging in all the streams of information around my target so that they start to they start to perceive things that aren't necessarily true. But in their mind, it is. And they go and behave in a particular way that I've led them to so that I can exploit that vulnerability. The premise of Cambridge Analytica is to warp people's perceptions to gain an objective.
In a statement today, Cambridge Analytica said it's deleted all the data and that it didn't use the data or personality targeting in its work for Trump.
Where is all that data now?
I don't know, you'll have to ask Cambridge Analytica.
But did Facebook contact you and ask you to delete it? Did that happen?
Facebook asked me to sign a form, which I did. I filled it out. Just like put in your name and check a box and then sign it.
Saying what?
That I promised to delete or destroy all the data. That was in 2016.
And did you delete all the data?
Yeah.
In its own statement, Facebook said it's conducting an audit to determine what happened with the data.
What is Facebook referring to when it says that several days ago we received reports that contrary to the certifications we were given, not all data was deleted? Do you know what that's about?
Ask Cambridge Analytica. Why? This is the thing that's really frustrating me right now, is everybody's asking me this. I'm the one putting it out and saying, hey guys, let's investigate this matter. And for some reason, I'm the one that's being questioned rather than Cambridge Analytica.
People will think that you'll have insight or you'll be able to
I do, and I've offered to help Facebook. They turn around and without telling me, ban me from their system after they realized that I was going public about this matter.
Why do you think they've taken such a strong response?
I don't know. They claim that it's for the security of their users, but like banning me on Instagram so that I can't see like well-curated avocado toast isn't really going to help the security of the platform. I'm sorry, Facebook. It's silly. I'm here willing to talk. But punishing me for being a whistleblower is not appropriate.
In a surprise to no one, Vladimir Putin won a fourth term as Russia's president, picking up more than 76% of the vote in his favor. His most serious opponent wasn't even allowed to run against him. Even though victory was in the bag for Putin, independent election monitors still reported hundreds of irregularities. In some voting centers, web cameras monitoring the vote were obscured by balloons. In others, video recordings appear to show election officials stuffing ballot papers into boxes. But with or without any extra help, Putin's popularity is no mirage.
Мы как вариант можем вам привести, то есть, какую-то скидку можем сделать. Ну, сколько там вы, 5200 хотели отдать, то есть можете сколько отдать, сколько есть, а остальное выставить.
Ruslan Shagin and his crew supply wood to bathhouses around the city of Perm in central Russia. Is business good? Has it been okay?
Самое главное, что у людей появилась покупательская способность. У людей есть деньги, чтобы купить дрова. Есть деньги, потому что вот березовые дрова — это дорогие дрова, это не самые дешевые дрова. Я думаю, что в 90-х годах такой бизнес не пошел бы. Так что, да, это самое тому подтверждение.
Does your life as a businessman, does that affect why you like Putin as president?
Путин наш президент. Все то, как мы живем в стране, то есть это неприемлемо связано с ним, непременно, точнее, связано с ним.
He and his wife, Polina, are both in their 20s.
Спасибо. На, кушаем, блядь.
They've lived almost their entire lives under Vladimir Putin. And on Sunday, as they prepared to vote in Russia's presidential election,
They had no second thoughts about who they'd be supporting.
Даже думать не надо, за кого голосовать. Президент, когда мы голосуем за президента, мы выбираем будущее для своих детей, для своей страны. И к этому надо подходить ответственно. То есть Путин — это самый достойный кандидат на данный момент.
Putin's years in office have been characterized by power grabs and corruption, and violent crackdowns on dissent. In opposition circles, he's viewed as a brutish, corrupt autocrat. But in smaller cities outside hubs like Moscow and St. Petersburg, Putin's popularity is secure, fueled by fears of a return to the bad economic times of the 90s, and a belief that only Putin can prevent that. Even among young people, support for the president is high, 86% of those 18 to 24 by one recent poll.
Do you have friends who you talk to at all who support the opposition, support Navalny or Sobchak?
Я не знаю, насколько они поддерживают оппозицию, но я могу вам сказать одно, что в оппозиции люди, которые находятся в оппозиции, то есть перед выборами, они как бы, у них есть программы, программы достаточно интересные, они, возможно, заслуживают внимания. Но как бы интересно ни говорили эти люди, которые представляют оппозицию, у Путина не отнять того, что он сделал. То есть он спас нашу страну.
The argument that they would make, I think, is that all the benefits from Putin have also come at a cost to freedom and expression, things like that.
А какой свободы? Я не понимаю. Мы свободные люди.
The big question over the weekend in Russia was never whether Putin would win, but if he could turn out enough voters to declare a sweeping mandate. In places like Perm, that became a job for local authorities. Polling sites played music and offered free food. And there were giveaways, too.
What is this program for?
Это мы выдаем билеты в кино людям до 35 лет за то, что они проголосовали.
So you go and you vote and you get this flag.
Человек приходит, голосует, ему дают флажок. Мы берем у него флажок, отрезаем край и отдаем ему обратно вместе с билетом.
Who sponsors it?
Администрация города Перми.
Ilya Melnikov came into the polling station still unsure who to vote for. It was between Putin and Vladimir Zhirinovsky, a perennial candidate who ended up taking 6% of the vote.
Did you decide who to vote for?
Да, решил. У меня было два претендента, и я проголосовал за Путина.
Do a lot of your friends, do you think they support Putin also?
Ну, большинство моих родителей поддерживают Путина. А насчет друзей, я не знаю даже.
Привет. Мы пойдем голосовать?
By the end of the day, Putin won in a predictable landslide. The Russian Election Commission reported 67% turnout, slightly below the Kremlin's hopes, but enough to declare a broad victory.
What are you hopeful for the next 6 years?
Я надеюсь, что все-таки политическая ситуация в мире стабилизируется, что рубль укрепится, что люди начнут лучше жить вследствие того, что санкции снимут.
Is there a point at which you will say, okay, enough of Putin?
Если появится кто-то хороший, достойный, то, конечно, люди будут голосовать за него. Сейчас большинство за Путина. Вот и весь ответ.
Tomorrow, Venezuela's answer to its money problems goes on sale to the public, Petrocoin. For President Trump, the new cryptocurrency is a no-go. He signed an executive order today banning U.S. citizens, residents, and companies from buying or selling it. But for President Nicolas Maduro, Petro is a way to counter the country's plunging bolivar, deal with rampant hyperinflation, and get around U.S. sanctions. And now he's hoping lots of people want to buy the thing he just invented.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro turned the pre-sale of Petrocoin into a national event. He turned on some mining rigs, posed next to a giant logo, and then announced that Petrocoin had raised $735 million in just one day.
Y hoy está naciendo el niño feliz, el Petro, la criptomoneda. Nos pusimos en la vanguardia. Venezuela está en la vanguardia de las criptomonedas.
At face value, this was pretty impressive, and the big numbers seemed to show some promise that Petrocoin might be a way for Venezuela to boost their national economy. But there's reason to be pretty skeptical about Petrocoin. Let's start with the name. It's called Petrocoin because it was supposed to be backed by Venezuela's oil reserves. But a white paper released by the government specified that instead of actual oil, Petrocoin is actually pegged to the price of oil at an exchange rate that can be manipulated at any point. Basically, a Petrocoin is worth what Maduro's government says it's worth. The second problem lies in Venezuela's history with cryptocurrency. Bitcoin has been around there since about 2014, when a small group of technologists realized its potential to guard against the country's rampant inflation problem. Venezuela's response was to start arresting everyone involved. Daniel Arraez, who set up a Bitcoin Facebook group and went to work for Venezuela's first exchange, was one of them.
In March 2016, I was preventively detained for 7 months while they investigated about the case, because what they put on the file was that I was doing money laundering and I was associated to commit crime.
Bitcoin started as an experiment to free people from governments manipulating currency. The blockchain ensured that everyone in the community could expect full transparency, and its statelessness was supposed to provide an alternative for runaway inflation or corruption. Petrocoin is the exact opposite. The Venezuelan government hasn't revealed the mysterious investors who put up $735 million, or even how they plan on distributing the coin.
There isn't a change in the economic policies of the government. There is still a price control policy, there is still a wage control policy. So as long as the government intervenes in every aspect of the economy, no matter what it does, no matter which currency it creates, it wouldn't be able to establish the economy until it is controlled.
Conservative candidates are starting to lose as the anti-Trump wave breaks over them. Tomorrow, a right-leaning Illinois congressman might be next, but there's a twist. He's a Democrat.
So thank you for coming out today. You guys are awesome. So appreciate it. It's go time, right? So go out and go get them. Okay?
Marie Newman is running as a progressive challenger in a district that's voted for a conservative for decades. A conservative Democrat. Dan Lipinski's represented the district for 14 years. But now, polls are showing the two locked in a tight race for the seat.
We're voting for you. Thank you.
Yes. We've asked for a sign, but we haven't gotten one yet.
You haven't gotten one?
Hillary Clinton won Illinois' 3rd district by 15 points. And whoever wins the primary will have a weak challenge in the general, from a Republican who's a proud Nazi. That means this race isn't about who can win in November.
Hi, Frank. It's Marie Newman. I'm running for Congress here in the 3rd District.
It's about the question that's plagued the Democratic Party since 2016. Should they fully embrace progressives as their future, or still attempt to appeal to the moderate middle?
Hey, wondering if you and Sophia could pick up a couple of volunteer shifts this weekend? Thank you so much and have a great night.
Newman is a strong believer in option 1.
What I realized after Trump was elected is that nobody's coming to save us. We have to save us. We've had 13 years of Lipinski. He's anti-immigrant, he's anti-LGBTQ, he's anti-women, he's on a mission against women. So the district's ready.
You are running against a Democrat, though. Why would you be any more likely to save residents of the district than he would be?
Well, he's very Trump-like, so it's easy to be a Democrat in this district because he acts like a Trumper. So for me, when folks like you ask me, hey, why are you primarying a Democrat? I say, I'm not.
Really? You think he's basically a Republican?
He is a Republican.
Newman's got a point. Lipinski voted against the Affordable Care Act when it was first passed. He wouldn't endorse Obama for re-election in 2012. And he opposes abortion and gay marriage.
In this election, it seems like there's a lot of people, that's all they want to talk about is social issues, and I think that's not what people are interested in, and that's bad for the Democratic Party.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to have you to your Congressman, the Honorable Dan Lipinski. Dan?
In the past, Lipinski's social conservatism wasn't a hindrance, partly because he's so well known. His father represented the same part of the state for 18 years.
As we know, this is a great area.
And the district was once home to Catholic immigrant families that tended to be more socially conservative. These days, the district is becoming younger and more diverse. And those residents are typically farther to the left. Newman says her campaign reflects that.
We have progressive values, for sure. I think that we are a true blue Democratic. We are worried about working families' issues and expanding the middle class. That is at the root of what the Democratic Party has always been for. And so we're all getting back to our roots. I think that the party as a whole is getting back to our roots.
Lipinski's take, a progressive litmus test just makes the party less competitive.
It's pretty universally accepted that abortion rights are part of the Democratic Party. So why haven't you shifted?
Well, first of all, 25 to 30% of Democratic voters in the country consider themselves to be pro-life. And so I think we need a big tent, and we shouldn't be pushing people out of the party. We should be more inclusive.
Jason Flom knows how to sell a story. As a record producer for several decades, he helped sell acts like Twisted Sister, Kid Rock, and Katy Perry to American music buyers. This is the guy who knew people were going to buy Hootie and the Blowfish records. He's been the head of Virgin, Atlantic, and Capitol Records. His acts sell. But the story he really wants the public to buy is one about people who are in prison when they shouldn't be.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay.
For the last 23 years, he's had a second career focused on those people. Nowadays, he hosts a podcast about it called Wrongful Conviction.
Today, I have an extraordinary group.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
The format is long conversations with guests like Jimmy Gardner, who spent 26 years in prison after being wrongfully convicted of sexually assaulting an 82-year-old woman and her daughter.
I'm sorry you're here, but I'm happy you're here.
The podcast is a hit. Flom says his show has been downloaded over 3.6 million times.
One of the things I harp on and that I obsess on is that we have an unequal system of justice.
They call me Florida. They said, Florida, you can't win here. And I'm telling the guys, I'm not guilty of these crimes, man. So I'm not even worrying about being convicted. I'm not pleading guilty to anything. And those 10 years turned into 110 years once I was convicted. That's what made it such of a shock.
I met up with Flom at Georgetown University, where he's trying to create the next generation of media-savvy wrongful conviction activists.
There are a lot of causes people like you take up, right? Why this one?
The only criminal defense lawyer I knew, he represented a couple of my artists. I got him involved, to make a long story short, I got him agree to take the case pro bono as a favor to me.
Flom started on this path when he read about a man who was denied parole for an alleged cocaine possession and was going to be sentenced to life in prison.
Do you feel like most of the cases that you think about lend themselves to television exposure, lend themselves to a podcast? I mean, are they all entertaining?
Well, entertaining is a strange choice of words, probably, but...
Do they need to be entertaining?
I'm starting to recognize those signs, so I'm able to become a more effective pitchman, so to speak, to get these cases the attention they deserve.
All right. Are we good to go? Should we get started? Hey, Jason, how you doing? Are you in the car?
News stories are the goal in the Georgetown pre-law class Flom is helping to fund. It's taught by Mark Howard, a lawyer with expertise in the wrongful conviction world. But the focus isn't legal briefs.
I feel like she might be a good case to get on TV. I've developed a very good relationship with 2020 and other shows.
I've got 16 Georgetown students who are working on 5 different likely wrongful convictions cases, and their goal is to try to make documentaries to help prove their innocence.
And why documentary? Why not just, put a legal brief together and go to court and appeal stuff?
We think this is actually a more effective way to get people's attention and grab them and get them hooked on some of these cases.
So the goal is 5 serials or 5 making a murderers.
Yeah. So we're calling it making an exoneree. That's what we're trying to do.
Cool. I just am so struck by this because I was just watching you. I'm like, oh my God, we're in the moment where a guy who knows his way around entertainment is the guy that somebody who's in prison wrongfully wants to have on his side right now.
I mean, at the end of the day, when I'm gone, I don't think anyone's going to remember whether I signed Katy Perry or not. But they will remember the people that I helped get out of prison.
Jason Flom is a hitmaker. That made him a lot of money. And at first, that's what he had to offer the Innocence Project: cash. Now he has the thing the wrongfully convicted really need these days: someone to tell their story.
It's ironic. One of the Aryan Brotherhood guys taught me how to go in and read all different cases and familiarize myself with the legal process. He really gave me a foundation in law on lockup. I always tell people, you know, I'm indebted to this guy.
An Aryan Brotherhood guy teaching one of the few black guys in the maximum security prison in West Virginia about the law is something worth spending a moment on. I mean, it sounds like we're writing a movie, doesn't it? I think maybe we
you
are,
can't make this up.
That's Vice News Tonight for Monday, March 19th.